Let me say a little something about Trump's first year in office. I mean, technically it's his fifth, but this go around's a bit different than the last one. I don't know about y'all, but it's been kind of rough. And I normally don't talk about it. And perhaps I should. And I know I will today. Because it's the 1 year anniversary of him taking office again and taking control of the country and making it what he thinks is great. And I haven't always agreed with him on that, on what makes America truly great. But we have very different backgrounds, and we have different perspectives on this unbroken path that we're on. And so we see the world very, very differently. Where for him, you know, the guy was a millionaire and he was 6 years old and never really had to work for anything the way a lot of us do. Never had that question of how we're going to pay this or how we're going to, you know, afford this or whatever. That was just always just given to him. Anything he's ever wanted, he's been able to just, you know, buy it. And a lot of leisure in that, a lot of separation from what normal folks actually have to go through. You know, when we get kicked out of a place because we can't afford to live there anymore, you know, we have to decide between a surgery and eating and a lot of things that he would never have to face and can't really understand. But what he does understand is power through force. And he understands the audacity of really boosting his own ego, trying to make himself larger than life. And that's what he sees as great. And I think that's what he's seen America being great, was the times when we kind of went in and dominated. And he likes that idea of dominating. That's his idea of what great is, where you put yourself above everyone else and, you know, they're just going to have to deal with it. And that's just the way he deals with things. And all of us know this. You know, we saw all this coming. A lot of us did. And I know a lot of people who supported him are now saying, oh my gosh, what is going on? Why is he doing these terrible things? And they don't appreciate a lot of the things that he's doing. Some of them still love everything that he does. Some of them have given themselves completely over to him. He is them. They are him. A lot of them have had to, you know, scrape off a lot of principles that they once held sacred, and so that doesn't matter anymore. It's just him. He's what matters. Ain't he great? And a lot of us don't agree with that. A lot of us held to our principles, and some are getting them back, and that backbone is growing again, and there's a rejuvenation in that, and we can hope for further growth from those who have been led down that path to buy in to what this guy thinks is great and realize that no, we think that other things are great. Caring for each other is great. We think empathy is great. Being able to understand what our other fellow human is going through and being able to help them through situations. We think that's pretty great. And we think it's great to have opportunity. We think it's great to have competition, fair competition, not domination competition, but, you know, each of us helping each other become the best that we can. And also including as much collaboration as possible. That's great when we did that, you know? And the times we've gone through struggles in this country, when we've come together, that's when we're really great, in my opinion. But then again, I see the world a lot differently than our current president does. You know, I don't think it's great that we have, I can't say they're military forces in our country. I don't think ICE is a military thing at all, but they're just goon squads. I don't like the fact we have goon squads going through our cities and creating havoc and mayhem and fear. I don't think that's great at all. I don't think it's great that we're trying to take over Venezuela the way that we are. I think there could have been a much better way of doing that, or we could have focused on the things back home that we need to actually get done, because we still got a lot of work here to do at home on how to make things better for America and, you know, put America, you know, first. How about that? I don't think it's great that we're, you know, threatening Europe over giving us Greenland. I don't think that's all that great. We got a lot of property here. We got to deal with. We got a lot of people we got to deal with, and I think that would be great. Focusing on the American people and how we can come together, how we can collaborate, how we can create better markets, how we can create greater life artistry, how we can create stronger communities, and how we can engage as citizens again. One of the things I don't think is great, we only have two choices on this, and have for almost 200 years. 1928 will be the 200th anniversary of the Democratic Party. They were joined another, I don't know, 25, 50 years ago. I didn't do the math, but shortly before the Civil War, so we could have that, the Republican Party was created to stop slavery. And, it never really stopped. We still had the Civil War ever since then. Because we had this two-party system, and we got to choose one side and hate the other, and that's the only choice that we have, and that's not really freedom. It's not giving us a democracy, because we know both these parties are owned by the billionaire class. We know this is an oligarchy. Now we have a true oligarch in charge, and I don't think it's working out all that well for a lot of the rest of us. And we need to start rethinking what a country of the people, by the people, for the people really means. Because right now it's of the party, by the party, for the party. And the party in charge is not doing a lot of good stuff. I don't think it's great that our president is all wrapped up in a huge, huge scandal with this whole Jeffrey Epstein thing. And yeah, that ain't great. So, yeah, I don't think we've quite gotten to the point where I can say we've made America great again this last year. But I think a lot of us are reconsidering what that great really means. And I hope we continue to do that. And yeah, I don't think I really want to add much to that right now, or else I get really fired up talking about stuff. And I don't know where this next 3 years is going to take us, but it's been a wild ride so far this year. And I don't know, I think it's a pretty popular saying to say things are probably going to get worse before they're going to get better. And I think that may be what is required for us. We're also celebrating our 250th anniversary as a country this year. And there's speculation that, 250 years is the, average lifespan of a world power like ours. And it may very well be that this thing is going to crash and burn, just like all the other businesses that he led into bankruptcy. And, a lot of people wanted somebody to run the country like a business, but it should have been a successful business, like a truly successful businessman who really knew how to make things work instead of just filing for bankruptcy again and again and again. But I guess we live and learn. And some of us will learn from this, and some of us won't. And that's just the way that goes. But man, moving forward, I really hope we think the way that we do things, And there's a lot of things that we hold sacrosanct that we need to rethink, I've been writing this book, Jesus Said Stuff, for the last year almost. I started in June writing this book about all the stuff Jesus said. And there's a lot of things about Christianity and following Christ that we need to rethink. Because Roman American Christianity is not the way that Jesus showed. And I think we need to revisit that. If you have any interest in Christ at all, get back to those red letters and say, what do those really say about how we treat one another? Because spoiler alert, the biggest thing he talks about is love. That is the thing Jesus talks about most. Right after that is the kingdom of heaven. And he says the kingdom of heaven is within you. Not out there, not after you die, it's within you. Now it's still going to be there after you die, but you don't need to wait. You can enjoy that with every single breath that you take. But I think we also need to rethink this whole United States of America situation that we've been in for the last 250 years and look at the evolution that we've had to get to this point and think about what's worked for us and what hasn't worked for us. Having parties has been helpful in organization. I've heard the argument made that that's why we need the two-party system, because they help us to get organized and focused and da-da-da-da. But We can still get organized. And you can go to more than one party, I would think, you know. I've done that before. I had those weekends where you know, go from house to house, from different party to different party, you know. We can do that because each of these parties could have different focuses on what they're really trying to get done. Focus on that initiative without all the extra nonsense that they create now, and have a more focused endeavor on there, you know. I've 8 parties based on the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, or the Beatitudes, or, you know, something that benefits us more than just competition for the sake of competition, and creating conflict over every little thing because you have to just fight for your party. And the only way you can fight for your party is just screw over the other one. And so our government now is now at a space where we're just like have these two corporations that are just fighting each other and ensuring that the other one fails. So you can't really move forward in the world if we're just focused on failure. And that's the goal, is just to make the other guy fail. We've got to create a system whereby we can actually make some positive changes and actually put our energies, our collective energies, beyond our conservatism and liberalism, but that sweet spot where we meet and say, yeah, this is what we really need. This is what we need to make us great again. And let's get some human insight into this. Let's get some natural intelligence here, you know? Because right now we got 3 branches, they say, what holds up our government, what our government consists of. And I look at it as like 3 legs to the table that we're gathered around. 3 legs to a stool. You ever sat on a 3-legged stool? It's not very sturdy. You put that 4th leg on there, then you got something to work with. So I think we should consider a 4th branch of government, of the people, by the people, for the people, and utilize the technology at our disposal right now to communicate, to poll, to share information, to do all the things we can do now that weren't even a dream 250 years ago, and create a new branch consisting of the input of the people democratically to say, okay, you guys who are in office, this is what we need you to do. And we give them marching orders. And we actually act as their bosses. Because this nonsense about letting these ego-driven knuckleheads come in here and do whatever the heck they want, we see this isn't working. And we got to figure out, what do we need them to do for us? So there you go. That's what I see going forward. So if you're interested in that, I will be reviving the anti-bunk party here. Will Rogers was presidential candidate of in 1928, and he said that the party was just 100 years ahead of times. That's why he didn't get any electoral votes. So if you don't know who Will Rogers was, I got a little video called The Road to Will, and the trailer is on there now, and I think I might even have the whole film up there, actually. I think I went live with it. But it's the whole thing about who Will Rogers was. 100 years ago, biggest celebrity of his time. Only person to ever speak at both the Democratic and Republican conventions. And I think we need some of that right now. So if you're interested in that, go check out that trailer and like and subscribe and all this kind of stuff. I'm going to do a different video every day talking about something. And it'll be something different every day. But a lot of it's going to be stuff Jesus said coming up here. And I may have to talk more about this whole situation in our country. And hopefully we'll grow from here. Anyway, I hope this finds you well. I hope that you're finding something to smile about today and you got somebody to share it with. And be well. Much love.